All right, so welcome back to Backstage with DJ, and joining me today is one of my favorite artists right now. He and his band are from Orlando, Florida. Welcome to the show, Greg Shields from Kash'd Out.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming on. So you've already been very active in 2025. I've noticed you've been touring, and you recently put out two songs: "King of the Coop" with Tropidelic, and another song called "Bandana." How did the collaboration with Tropidelic happen, and what was the process of working with them?
Super easy. Those are our favorite boys to tour with. We probably toured with them the most, either them or Badfish, or they're like tied for first. So the relationship's already there, and it's kind of a no-brainer. We knew we wanted Rhodes on the song and sent it over to him, and he sent it back in a timely manner and absolutely crushed his verse. And it was just really smooth. Honestly, it wasn't like an in person thing. We sent him the track. He was vibing it, and a short time later, he sent over a demo, and I think he might have revised it once, maybe not even. And we just absolutely love his verse. It's my favorite verse he's ever done, and I'm just stoked that it happens to be on our song.
Do you guys think you're going to get to play it together this year?
I think so. We'd like to. I know we've got some shows together, and we meant to practice it on our end, and some events happened that prevented those rehearsals from happening. But we did jam it acoustically for some VIPs, and that went well. So I foresee it happening.
So are these singles going to be part of a bigger album coming up, or you guys just wanted to drop a single together?
Definitely an album. We're sitting on a whole bunch of them, and we're gonna just kind of trickle them out as time goes on. It takes a while to get mixed, um, but I think we're about halfway mixed on the whole album. So we're just gonna trickle out those singles, and um, eventually the back half of the album will be out too. Probably maybe next year.
Can you tell me maybe some of the other features that you might have on the album?
Uh, what do we got? Um, I don't know. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say.
I had to ask.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the rules are on that, if there are any.
I don't
Um,
want to get you in trouble.
yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say no, just because that's on the safer side.
All right.
But there are some features, and they are really cool, and we are very stoked on them.
I'm very
I can tell.
excited to hear it.
Yeah.
So you got a bunch of touring dates coming up. What's your preparation for the upcoming summer shows? How often are you guys rehearsing? And who are some of the bands that people can expect to see you touring with?
I believe we're going out again with Sense Emotion and Jarv. He's this dope ass rapper. He's coming on just a couple of the dates. I want to say the Florida shows. I think that's the whole Florida run. Um, we're going out with Bumpin' Uglies and Logan from Article Sound System. And I can't remember. I think it's just some festival stuff um, in between or around all of that.
How long
Um,
are you guys going to be touring together?
I want to say at least a couple weeks for each one. Um, I'm kind of the worst with like um, timeline of things. I'm the last to look at the schedule. I look at it on day one when we get on the bus, and I probably won't look at it until maybe the last week and go, "Oh shit, it's the last week." Um, it just kind of helps time go by faster. It's like watching a clock or watching paint dry. You know,
For sure.
um, I do enjoy it. I don't want it to seem like I don't enjoy what I do. It's just we do it so often and for so long. This last run was for 3 4 months.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, so it won't be that long. I know that. I think they're just 2, maybe 3 weeks max on each one.
All right.
Yeah, but
S-
if for preparation, we just like, you know, we rehearse if we can, and me mentally, I just try to squeeze in as much work at home before I go on that trip each time.
So your debut EP titled Cashed Out came out in 2014. How did the EP come about and what was the process of recording it and putting it out?
That was much different than we do it now. That was like when we were just forming the band. Um, that one, I met Jackson in my studio. I was having a session for another artist, and that artist had, I think, met Jackson on Craigslist or something, and um, just needed a guitarist to come in for a session. So um, Jackson had started playing these sweet riffs, and I was like, "Please tell me you don't have words written for that." And he was like, "I can't write words." I'm like, "Well, I can't write guitar, so we should. You want to make a band?" Uh, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm down." So we kind of abandoned the session we were doing, um, and just started writing that. And I would say it sucks for the guy who came in, but he's doing much better than all of us now. He's actually out here in San Diego crushing the real estate game and um, doing a lot of Airbnb stuff, and he just is much better off. But we starting the next day just started recording any song that we could put together, and some of that is a mix of like it's like a mixture of old songs that I had that I didn't want to let go of, and I kind of reworked them. But most of it is just stuff that the first few songs that we came up with on the fly, and our engineer, who still works with us to this day, kind of helped us start the band. At that point, it was just me, Jackson, and Josh, our engineer. And it wasn't long before we're like, okay, we need a drummer and a bass player. I knew a guy, you knew a guy, and now we have our solid lineup.
That's awesome. How do you like looking back now, is there anything you would do differently on that?
I wouldn't put out the first 5 songs that I came up with. um, Now, like just to give you an idea, like this album we have now, I think we wrote 20 something and narrowed it down to 11 or 12.
Oh wow.
So we do things a lot differently than we were before. It was a little impulsive. It was like, oh wait, you will start a band? You do want to do this? Okay, well let's see what we got then. And we just kind of dove right in and didn't really stop. Um, I knew how to do it, but this band has taught me a lot of stuff of what I do and don't want to do. Uh, but yeah, that I would say just write more songs before we say, "Hey, here we are."
Hey, I still listen to a lot of those songs on that EP. So
A lot of people do. Yeah,
oh yeah.
it's. I'm glad it's there for people. It's just not wouldn't have been our what I consider to be our best foot forward. Definitely not our worst. It was more so our only foot forward at that time.
Hmm. You said you do producing too, right?
I do.
Who are some of the artists that you've worked with as a producer?
Well, producer is a kind of widely, I don't for lack of a better word, abused term,
Hmm.
um, or just widely used. But in the way I do it is I'll either oversee an entire project and hire out for um, certain jobs, or I will do solely the job that I do, which is lyrics and melody and vocal production. So that means I'm helping write all the things that get sung, and I'm helping produce that performance and try to get the best performance out of the singer or singers. and I have done that for a bunch of artists. Ballyhoo is the one that got me in the game,
Okay.
and uh, from then I think after that I did Resonated and Serenation. Um, more recently, um, Sons of Paradise. We're about to drop a song together. Um, Working on new Serenation. Uh, who else? Dale and the Z Dubs. Done some stuff for a bunch of up and comers that I like to call them. I like to help anybody who's willing to take the help, and it's usually someone who's, you know, just I'm looking back and there they are, just they're right behind us. Um, it's usually those bands that will reach out, and I'm just down to write lyrics and melody. I like writing hooks. I like making things catchier than they once were, even if it's for my own songs. But anybody who's willing, I'm willing. I just like making music.
Do you have a favorite project you've done working with another artist?
Uh, it's usually just like my latest song. Um, I'm really enjoying uh, the Serenation stuff that nobody's heard yet, but they will soon. Um, I'm really enjoying the Cashed Out album that nobody's heard yet, but they will soon. Uh, I worked with this artist Todd Carey, who's just got this incredible voice. Um, we wrote some killer songs recently. It's really just I I like the album. We kind of created out of thin air, so I had to listen to it probably 1,000 times each. My girlfriend hates it, but that's that's just what has to happen. Um, and I don't even really listen to a lot of music that's put out unless it's in my like peer group, really. But um, I more so listen to the demos that I'm currently creating or recently made.
I'm really glad you explained your role as a producer too, because I feel like that term, like you said, it gets misused a lot, and I myself didn't even really truly know and understand really what it meant. So I really appreciate you explaining what that meant.
Yeah, there's different types too. A lot of people think like if I make beats, I'm a producer, and that's not true. I consider that more to be sound design. Um, but I mean, look, we're taking all kinds of terms these days and giving them new meanings. So,
That's very
uh,
true.
producers is one that's just been widely used, and it's easy to it pretty much if you've got an opinion on something on a piece of work and your opinion holds in that session, then you're a producer. But yeah, there's different types. The old school way used to be just like the one guy who called all the shots, and he's gonna hire the team out and the engineer who's pushing all the buttons and the faders. And Yeah, I basically just produce those. The top line is what it's called. Top liner is really my position when it comes to writing, but I don't always write. So if the song's already written and I'm in there just calling some shots on some vocals, then I'm in vocal production at that point. A lot of different hats.
So I was looking back at your history a little bit, and I saw that before you guys even released your first full length album, you got to do back to back tours with Pepper and Less Than Jake. How was that experience as an early experience for being in the band?
Really awesome. We That was kind of the way that we got that tour was really awesome. We were trying to sign to Pepper's label at the time, When I did ask Jackson if he wanted to be in the band, I had gotten the opportunity to co-write Daydreams with Ballyhoo, and after that, a few more albums. But at the time, it was Daydreams that was really popping off, and I saw what Law Records did for that album, and just their signing and um, the effort that was being put into it, and I thought that was cool. So I asked Jackson, I'm like, if you want to do this, do you want to like try to pitch it to Law Records? I think I might be able to get a deal because they obviously like a bunch of other songs that I helped write. And he was down, so uh, that began the pitch, and I went out with Ballyhoo on Warp Tour because I knew Pepper was going to be there. I offered to help sell CDs, and I was just hoping that I would get this chance to meet Pepper and give him our album and try to pitch that. And it all kind of worked. Um, Not super easy, but definitely uh, got the job done. Came home with some label interest, and um, that we didn't have the deal on the table. But then I went. We did have a show with Less Than Jake in their hometown, and we were out hustling tickets. And I don't remember how many we sold, but we were just out there grinding. And Less Than Jake had also seen me grinding on Warp Tour. I just didn't know that they were watching. So the combination of those things, and then the show did pretty well from what I remember. Then they asked her, like, "Have you ever gone on tour with Pepper? Because we're about to, and you guys should be on that." And I was like, "Can you please say that to Pepper like right now? Because couldn't be better timing." And they did, and we signed the deal. Went on the tour and didn't stop touring after that.
That's incredible. How was it getting to go to Warp Tour?
It's a lot of work. I had followed it. The reason why I volunteered to do that is because I had followed it before in an old ambulance. Um, and Ironically, with the bass player of Ballyhoo now, but he was not the bass player then. Um, and we followed the tour, just hustling CDs and singing to people coming in and out of the festival because we didn't have laminates. So when they were like, "Yeah, we get to be on the tour," and I was like, "Wait, I could go and I would have a ride and a laminate, like I could get in." And they're like, "Yeah, that's how it works." I'm like, "Sign me up," and that was awesome. But a lot of people were not into buying CDs. I had to get very creative with the pitch, and especially CDs from a band that wasn't, you know, big, heavy, screaming band.
Mm.
We kind of had our own little group of ska slash reggae bands at the time. The cool thing about Warped Tour is that it's not just about one genre. And there was a House of Marley stage, and it had, I don't know if this was the year because we did it 2 years, but um, one year it was Mod Sun, G Easy, and neither of them were like what they are now. They've
Mm.
since blown up. The Green, Ballyhoo, and I can't remember the name of the band. They were really good though. Not around anymore. They had that "I think God smokes weed and he was high when he made me." Um, I'm drawing a blank on their name, but they were there too. Um, and it was just we had this little group and Pepper, and Less Than Jake as well, and Real Big Fish. So you can see like not heavy bands, and we all kind of stuck together and in the same little group at the barbecue. It's like a big summer camp. You find your people and you stick with them all summer.
That's awesome. I had a conversation with Howie Spangler back in July, and he was talking about Warped Tour and how it was just so awesome to be able to just have dinner with all your friends every night and just getting to meet people and having that community there. It was really cool.
Yeah, every night or so, um, maybe every other night, there'd be a big barbecue of like 600 people, and everybody, is kind of trying to take a load off. Some people would want to talk. Some people just ready to go to bed. But it was cool to just everybody's there doing the same thing, but a different type of that thing. And you could be a guy just hustling CDs and sunglasses, or you could be somebody who's just waiting for their 20-minute set. Um, trying to find out if it's going to be at noon or at 6 o'clock, and trying to get people to the stage. 'Cause there's like 70. If you don't know, there's like 70 bands on on the tour every day. It's like a circus that just sets up and
Mm.
tears down. And it's really cool to watch and be a part of. I'm glad that they're bringing it back, even if it's just for a few shows this year. But uh, they took it away and they gave it back.
Yeah, I've never gotten a chance to go. I'm only 20 years old. And I was really
Oh.
excited when I saw it was coming back, but I wasn't able to get a ticket for this year, sadly. But hopefully some point in the future they'll do more shows.
I don't think it'll sell out. It could have sold out, I guess, but um,
It was a little out of my price range.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's always some ways to get in, and that was actually the cool thing about Warped Tour for an up and coming band. If you're willing to like grind and like, I know Kevin Lyman, the guy who puts it on, he would often approve bands to be on the Kevin Says stage
Hmm.
if you were like willing to work catering and stuff, and like you can earn your spot, and that was pretty cool. I don't think they're doing any of that
Hmm.
this year. I don't, not to my knowledge, but um, that was always really cool. It's got that underground hustle kind of tied into it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one thing I really think is cool about this industry that I feel like a lot of people learn about how to be a hard worker through it and how you got to hustle for getting what you want with it.
You really do. Some people hustle more than others. Some people need to hustle more than others, depending on who you're connected with. But you can't argue with the hustle. So there's those who might not as much, and they get from here to here pretty quick. But then to go from here to here, it's like you can't deny the legwork between here and here or here.
For
It's
sure,
just
for sure.
there's when you do grind it out and do things kind of the analog way. Um, your fans will show up organically, and that's kind of the grind that Cashed Out's always been on. Ballyhoo too,
Yeah,
where
for sure.
it's just
S-
been a marathon, not a sprint for
hmm.
sure.
So, what are some of your favorite memories from touring, just across all the tours you've done?
Ooh, um, really just like the bigger or biggest shows. Um, I one in particular stands out as the Mission Ballroom in Denver. It's a pretty large venue. We haven't got to do Red Rocks yet, so that's like the next best thing. Um, and just when you're playing a spot like that, you really kind of feel like you got there. Um, and just playing those shows and like hearing a whole shitload of people singing back the words that you maybe threw together, or because you were trying to make a song, or you write something that actually means something to people enough for them to come out and buy a ticket and wear the T-shirt with the lyrics on it and stuff like that. I think just seeing the growth is my favorite part of tour. I don't really have like a particular tour story because
Mm.
it's like every day, you know. It'd be
Yeah.
like, tell me something that happened in your life. It's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
it. We've done so many tours. It's hard to recall one particular thing, but just meeting everybody and seeing them again. And one thing I do love is we do our VIPs on our bus, and um, people keep showing up for them, even though they've had that experience
Mm.
10 plus times. They still want some more of that, and they appreciate it so much that they grab those tickets every time, and um, they're really just enjoying hanging out with us for that little bit of time, and it doesn't get mundane to them. Uh, I think that's a really cool thing because it makes you feel like you're building something the grassroots way, and like that. No matter, I was just saying, it's nice that people will come back and do those, and we can count on those people, and that's kind of building that fan base that we're talking about.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I feel like a lot, especially like with these genres that you're a part of, there's there's so much connection between the fans and the artists. I was so excited when you responded to my DM. I was like shocked. I was like, whoa, like that's really cool because like there's so many like all these mainstream artists like it's like they make themselves like they're better than a lot of people, but like I feel like there's such a sense of community here between the artists and the fans in this genre.
Yeah, and I will say it's not even so much. It can very easily seem like someone might think they're better or above that situation or anything like that, and it's a lot of times it's not even like that. It just kind of seems that way, and it's just so easy to take it that way. But as an artist, we get a lot of things thrown our way, and a lot of things that we got to kind of compartmentalize and be like, is that a priority right this second compared to
Mm.
everything else that I have going on that people may or may not see? And um, you caught me. Your squeaky wheel gets the grease, and um, and I'm glad like this could work out, and um, I know that even you know when it comes to like reaching out for features and stuff like we do, it's not that the artists, if they don't get back to us, it's not that they don't want to do it. A lot of times they might not even see the message, or if they do, it's just in passing real quick, and then something happens and they forget
Mm.
because it's just a lot of chaos to be um, in a touring band um, or a touring artist. Um, it's just so much that gets thrown our way. And a lot of times I'll be the quiet guy in the corner, and people think I'm sad all the time. It's like I'm not. I'm either thinking about something else, or I'm just observing, or I just am preserving my voice. Um, but I, I hope that I don't give off that impression that I was better, you
Not at
know,
all, not at
never
all.
too good,
I just
too
meant a lot
good.
of more mainstream artists. Like you look at like Drake or Taylor Swift, like like people like make them out to be like gods almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're kind of like that by design. And they probably have. If I think my life is at all crazy, they probably have way more things going on or potential things going on that they got to sift through, and people throwing them money to do whatever. Um, so I'm sure they're like nice people.
Yeah,
you know,
I
if
hope
you can get
so.
to it. Yeah, I mean, even there's people in our scene that are just a little hard to get to, and
Mm,
um, got to kind of break down some barriers if that's who you're after.
for sure. Who were some of your biggest influences growing up as far as bands and musicians?
Mm, I liked a lot of '90s R&B,
Okay.
whatever's on the radio in the '90s. So at the time, that would have been like Casey and JoJo,
Mm,
Genuine. But then like alternative, my first CDs. Um, Someone gave me, it was Green Day Dookie, which I didn't really take to be honest. Nothing against them, a great band, but that wasn't the one that I gravitated towards. I ended up going more towards Mariah Carey. Um, and I had two CDs from The Offspring.
Hmm.
I had Stomping Ground and Hang Ups, and or not The Offspring,
Uh,
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, yeah. I also had The Offspring. I was thinking of them too. Um, but The Offspring, I didn't take. It was the Goldfinger albums that um, I don't know, for some reason I resonated the most with that, and then Sublime self-titled, which kind of explains how I got here.
Yeah, I can definitely hear a lot of that in your music for sure.
Yeah, I also love Weezer too, but only up to like the Red album.
Yeah.
Past Troublemaker, I'm like, I don't know.
I like it. So, we've already touched on it a little bit, but how do you feel about the current state of the music industry? And are there any bands, artists you're watching right now that you think other people should look into?
Anyone that I'm fucking with, um, please look into that. But I'm not a huge fan of the state of the industry, but everything has to evolve, and it's it really has to do with the state of technology.
Hmm.
Um, I don't necessarily care for the way that um, the larger companies are circling around like internet, um, or like TikTok artists, and anything with like a million streams, everybody's like, ooh.
Hmm.
Uh, because you can have a million streams, you can pop off in the algorithm, but that doesn't mean that you can do what needs to be done. It doesn't mean you can draw a couple hundred people no matter where you go or more. Um, it doesn't mean that you got the chops. It doesn't mean you can get up on a stage and you're going to know exactly what you're doing. However, I am working on a solution for that. I've been shooting this video guide, and I can't really say too much on it now because we haven't launched yet. But um, it is something I'm actively working on that will uh, will be exactly for that TikTok artist who maybe they have a bunch of videos going viral, but they don't necessarily know how to navigate the industry or know what their next move should be because they haven't spent their whole lives doing it. They just kind of learned how to make a track and it popped off. Um,
When can we
so
expect that to be ready?
uh, I would like to say by summer, but I can't really put a deadline. Just like on the albums, I don't like putting a deadline on an album because now I'm rushing it to get it done by that time. Um, I want to do it right, and I don't, you know, I've never been a host of something like that before, which I am
Hmm.
kind of the host of it. And I don't do I don't do them a perfect job every time. Still getting into the swing of it, so there's things I want to reshoot, and um, I could put it out by summer just by using whatever we have, but I kind of want to go through and make sure that it's the proper information and good information that's getting out there because that type of thing kind of exists but doesn't really exist the way that I would like to do it.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to check that out when you put that out.
Me too, because I've been not really resting in between my tours. It's like I got all these bags under my eyes because
Hmm.
I'm going nonstop. In between my tours, I shoot stuff for that, and I've been interviewing a lot of great people, um, managers and labels and artists, both signed and independent, and just trying to get different takes. Uh, a lot like this. Uh, but maybe more in depth for a specific. We'll have it all mapped out from starting the
Mm.
band on to getting tours and sponsors and managing your money, all that stuff. It's all going to be wrapped in there. It just takes a while to do. So I would love to say by summer, but we'll see.
All right, I'll be checking and I'll be looking for it.
Yeah, I'll be making a lot of noise. You won't have to look far.
I'll be sure to repost about it too.
Please do, please do.
All right, so I got a couple fun questions to finish out the interview. So, if you could create your dream tour lineup of three bands for Cashed Out to tour with, who would be on that list?
Hmm. Um. Like just any genre, or
Just anything,
does it need
anything
to
you
make
want.
sense?
Doesn't got to make sense, just whatever you want.
I mean, I would say if it doesn't have to make sense, like Taylor Swift, I guess, because that's like
Okay.
the biggest artist there is. So that would be the most exposure, I would assume. Um, or like something big like that, or Bieber. But actually, what might make a little bit more sense is Bruno Mars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one. I mean, he would wipe the floor with us for sure, but I
I can
bet
see
it
the
would be fun.
similarities maybe a little bit.
Yeah, we write. I write in a lot of in a pop manner, and I don't quite got the chops that he does, but I'm working on it. And I would say Bruno Mars would be a definite yes on my end. Um, and if it was within the genre, I'd probably say Stick Figure would be pretty cool.
Mm.
Um, you know, the usual suspects,
Yeah,
Dirty Heads, Iration. We've done some dates with Iration before. Well, that was fun. But it would be nice to do that, like not coming out of COVID and
for
uh,
sure. Yeah.
regular times, if you will.
All right. What are your top three movies?
Ooh, uh, damn, I don't really. I don't have any recent ones, so if you're only 20, you're not gonna know these. But
Maybe I will. Who knows?
um, I like Captain Ron, uh, 16 Candles,
That's a good one.
and Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
That's on my list. I've been told to watch that one.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Out of all those, you definitely got to watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And then I'd say close second would be Captain Ron.
I haven't watched that. I haven't heard of that one either.
Yeah, it's before your time for sure, but it's worth a watch.
I mean, a lot of the movies and like music I'm into, it's a lot of like 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and that kind of thing. So, hey, who
Thousands
knows?
were a good time, yeah.
Do you have any favorite sports teams you're into? Oh, I see your hat.
Recently the Padres because they're like right here, and I do enjoy going to the games. Um, haven't That's probably the most sporty that I've gotten in a long time. I don't really have a lot. By the time I like figure out who's on the team or who a player I should root for in sports, they like draft them to someone else. Um, so it's hard for me to keep up, but I do like going to. I'm really a fan of Petco Park, the
Okay.
stadium itself. Yeah, um, more so than the actual team, but
It's fun just going for the experience of going.
yeah, just being around it, being in the environment. I saw Slightly Stupid play there at Petco Park, and I thought
Oh,
that was
wow.
really cool. It's really cool for a band to like be able to shut down their local baseball stadium
Yeah.
You know, that's uh pretty rad, and I felt the support from the stadium to the band. Obviously, you know, they're making them some money, but
Yeah.
uh, you could really just kind of feel the camaraderie there, and that's kind of what got me going back to the games. And it's right down the street, so
I
why
love it.
not? Yeah,
What's your favorite song to get hyped, and what's your favorite song to relax to?
get hyped to be Anthem Part Two from Blink 182,
Love
who I
it.
also saw at Petco Park. Um, and to relax to um, Fragments of Time by Daft Punk.
Okay, I like it. Two solid picks.
Yeah, I think that song, just the way the delays are there and just the sounds and that mix of that album is really soothing to me.
Can't go wrong with Blink 182 and Daft Punk.
Yeah, totally different, but you know.
But two great artists for sure. All right, so for a final thing, what can you leave curious fans about the future of Cashed Out and your career?
The songs are fire. These are the best songs that we have written so far. Um, we have more features than we have had in the past, and um, we're gonna tour. So that's kind of, it's not really news.
Hmm.
We do all those things, but I'm very excited for the album or the singles or however you digest it. Um, but this body of music is my favorite that we've done. It's a little bit different um, on each song. Each no two songs are the same. There's there might be a reference or two, but there's no real weed songs. Um, there might be one that I put out that
Hmm.
I don't know if it's going to make the cut or just be a single, but we kind of just didn't go that direction, which some people kind of expect. So um, it's just the sound has definitely matured. Every time we make an album with our boy Josh, he's like he works on like some of the top rock albums um, on the charts. So he just gets better and better and better, and so do we. Um, and his rock influence doesn't necessarily translate over to us because he kind of started our band with us, so he knows what our sound is and what it's supposed to be or what we can shape it to. And so just the combination of like him growing and us growing together musically is just freaking awesome, and I can't wait for everybody to hear that.
I'm excited. If you could leave any final words of advice for musicians and creatives, what would it be?
Don't stop learning and don't give up, um, because even you know if you keep digging for that information, you know I've got a call after this with somebody who's just like, hey, I just want to like, I got a bunch of questions for you, and I love that mentality. Um, like he's trying, you know what I mean? And he wants to know, he wants to know more about what he can do, and like I'm always giving that kind of advice, which is why I'm making the video guide. Uh, but I would just say digest, like when I make this thing and I drop it, put it out, or I put it out. You take it in,
Hmm.
take it in, take all that information, listen over and over again if you have to, if it's a lot to unpack. But like, use it and use what's out there. My son is 13. I didn't grow up with YouTube. He's grown up with YouTube. He's so much smarter than I was at 13, and he's so much smarter than I am now. I have street smarts, but he has like, you know, a wealth of knowledge because he uses the tools that are there for him. And like, I just say, don't stop digging and don't stop creating.
I love that. I'd love to do a part two with you once your guide is out and let you talk about it more.
Absolutely. I'm down for that. I'll, like I said, I'll be making a lot of noise when it's finished and ready. And we've been making a lot of headway on it. And it just takes time to put together the way that I'm envisioning it. And I got a lot of great people on the project, so uh, I'm excited to see where that goes and what people actually take from it. Because the idea is to build a new generation of up and coming artists, so we don't see the same bands on the bill every time. And some of that's never going to change, but some of it can if there's just new talent out there that's doing the right things and worthy of being on those festivals.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Greg. This has been really a pleasure to get to talk to you and ask you all these questions. Catch Greg and his band Kash'd Out on tour this summer. Check out the newest singles. And if there's any other information, any social medias you want to plug right now you can do it.
Cashdout.com is where you can find everything that we're doing. We'll be out on the road. You can get your tickets there. Don't buy tickets from people in the comments. That's foolish. Get them from cashdout.com, and we'll see you guys out on the road.
All right, we'll see you then.